Hello. Well, believe it or not, what I'm doing here is potting up um, some uh, Brussels sprouts. And I've never done it this way before. I've never tried to grow Brussels sprouts for kind of the late fall, early winter before at all. I planted them in the spring and let them grow all season and just see kind of what survived. But our weather here this summer has been pretty hot for most of the summer, pretty hot and dry, and that's not the best weather for Brussels sprouts. So I planted these Brussels sprouts in seed trays maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, and now and I've been growing them maybe not that long, 3 to 4 weeks ago, I should say. And now I have them under lights in the basement nursery, and now I'm potting them up. I'll put them back under the lights once they're potted up. And the reason for that is because we still have, this is we're still in the beginning of August here. We still have a lot of hot days to come. In fact, next week we're looking at another heat wave where we're going to get up to like 105, which is still, even in August is pretty hot for Portland, Oregon. So this year has been kind of an amazing heat wave in that regard. So anyway, my thought is pot them up, grow them as big as I can under lights until the weather cools down, and then plop them in the ground, and hopefully they can take off and do well from there. So that's what I'm up to here, and I'll let you watch as I'm doing this. See how much of a root system we have there. These guys are definitely, they're either ready to go into the field or be potted up as I am here. I'm using these kind of 3.5-inch pots. Hopefully I don't have to pot up again before they go into the ground. But if I do, I can put them in one, they outgrow these before the temperatures come down to brassica weather. I could switch these out into 1-gallon pots at that point if I needed to. The goal is to let them just continue growing as much as with being as little checked on their growth as possible. Okay, tray's ready to go into the basement. All right, thank you everyone. Okay, I'm here in our basement nursery, and in the month of August, we're at the beginning of August, this is not the place I want to hang out because it's nice and beautiful in the garden, so I want to be out there as much as possible. You'll see that when I'm potting things, I take them out of here and I do it at the potting bench outside so I can be outside, enjoy the garden, enjoy the nice weather. But I do have to have some things down here getting ready for fall. This is my first year trying it this way. I've tried for a couple of years now and kind of really failed at trying to get a large amount of fall veggies in the ground because typically the seedlings will burn up and die outside where it's really hot this time of year when you want to be starting them in Portland, Oregon. And especially, the last couple of years and going into this year, we've had some hot, dry summers here. We had a big heat wave in June, and now we're expecting one coming up here again. It's going to get as much as 105 degrees coming up here. And so these veggies would not do well sitting outside. I'm not sure they would even do all that well in the shade. And so having them down here in the basement where it's not, I don't have an air conditioner down here or anything, but it stays cooler than the average temp outside. When it's 100 out there, it'll only be maybe 80 to 85 in here, which is still a little bit hot for them, but not 100. And it'll cool down quite a bit by nighttime and the rest of the day. And then I can also have them under light, so they're getting plenty of light, but their temperature is just not out of control. And so the goal is to kind of grow them up in here until the temperatures get down to where these fall crops like to be. And what I have in the fall crops here, I've got cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, kales, a lot of these brassica type things. Of course, I've got Brussels sprouts that I've got planted, and I'm hoping will do well by sometime November. I've got the Asian vegetables, bok choy, two types of bok choy: the white stem bok choy, the Shanghai bok choy, and then I've got Chinese broccoli, or also known as Chinese kale again. Beets, lots of beets. So I've got all these things growing in the seed trays right now. And yeah, that's the plan. That's what you see going on here. Well, zucchini, as a follow-up to my last video kind of talking about zucchini, I am still getting zucchini production. I probably got 5 or 6 zucchinis this week, which is more than I'll eat, of course. But given the, with the theme of today, given the number of zucchini plants that I had in pots growing and then ultimately put out into the ground out here, I would expect by now to have a lot more. And so these 2 zucchini plants on either side of me are, I think, relatively young compared to probably the zucchini plants or bushes in most people in our area's garden. Most of my fellow gardeners in our area probably have slightly older plants that have been producing longer already. So I've got younger plants here, and that's okay. There's plenty of time for them to produce a lot. It just means that my zucchini season's a little bit later than other people's are. And by the way, I've been watching a couple other people's videos on YouTube in other parts of the country about planting new zucchini plants, like kind of sometime late June or sometime in July, or in order to get plants that then are producing new kind of, that are more vibrant and more productive, producing plants, say, in late September. And I think that totally would work here too. I didn't do that, but I effectively may have done it just because I didn't get my starts into the ground until later. I didn't get them in the ground that late. My starts did go into ground in June, not late July, but still, these are younger, and they probably will be producing a lot during the month of August, where I think a lot of folks around here were producing a lot of zucchinis in the month of July.